The world began to shiver before anyone understood why. Deep beneath the crust, the molten heart of the Earth, the core, had suddenly cooled. The pulse that had regulated the planet for billions of years faltered, and with it, the stability of life above. Volcanoes fell silent, and the familiar hum of magnetic currents ceased. Compass needles wavered, satellites spun off course, and birds, sensing some imperceptible shift, fell from the sky in confusion. At first it seemed subtle. Tides behaved strangely, and the auroras flickered in abnormal patterns. Scientists scrambled to measure seismic vibrations, magnetic fluctuations, and thermal anomalies, but nothing prepared humanity for the global consequences that came next. The molten core had long acted as Earth's engine, keeping the mantle warm, maintaining tectonic movement, and generating the magnetic field that shielded the planet from the sun's deadly radiation. With it gone, the planet's surface would slowly betray its inhabitants. The first signs of panic appeared in coastal regions. Without the constant churning of the core, the oceans began to rise unevenly. Some areas experienced sudden tsunamis, others a terrifying retreat of water, leaving coral reefs and cities exposed. Earthquakes struck not as isolated tremors but as rolling waves of destruction across continents. Cities built on unstable foundations cracked and split. Mountains shifted imperceptibly, only to collapse catastrophically in a matter of hours. The magnetic field, weakened without the spinning core, left humans and animals alike vulnerable to cosmic radiation. Migratory birds lost their way. Satellites flickered and burned, disrupting communications, weather predictions, and navigation systems. Electrical grids strained and failed, plunging countries into darkness. Humanity, so dependent on technology, faced a crisis unlike any before. The planet itself was destabilizing. Volcanic activity, while initially subdued, returned unpredictably. Dormant volcanoes erupted without warning, their lava flows altering landscapes permanently. Fertile plains became wastelands. Rivers dried or flooded capriciously, altering the course of life. Species evolved or died rapidly in response. Some adapted, others vanished. Humanity's agriculture, tuned to predictable seasons, began to fail, forcing mass migrations and famine. Cities became fragile islands of survival. Governments fell under the weight of logistical collapse. Food, water, and shelter became scarce, and humans began to cluster around natural hot springs and geothermal vents, the last sources of reliable warmth. Engineers and scientists worked desperately to create artificial magnetic shields, geothermal power plants, and tectonic stabilizers, but every solution was temporary. In time, the surface of the Earth began to cool unevenly. Polar regions expanded, deserts froze at night, and temperate zones turned hostile. Oceans, deprived of their heat distribution, experienced bizarre, violent currents. Storms intensified. Hurricanes and cyclones became monsters of unprecedented strength. Even the sky seemed alien. Auroras appeared at latitudes where they had never existed, glowing curtains of green and violet above a trembling, unsettled Earth. Humans, once masters of their domain, became students of survival. Communities learned to live in enclosed habitats, relying on geothermal energy and artificial lighting. Children were born knowing that the warmth of the sun could not always be counted on, and that gravity itself might not remain friendly over centuries. Culture and art adapted. Songs, stories, and paintings depicted a planet no longer predictable, a world where landscapes shifted like the currents of molten rock beneath their feet. And yet, life endured. Microbial ecosystems in the deep crust found refuge in residual heat pockets. Fish survived in thermally protected lakes. Birds and mammals adapted or migrated along newly formed corridors of survival. Humanity, though humbled, learned to respect the deep, unseen engine that had once powered the world. A lesson in patience, endurance, and reverence. For generations, Earth was no longer the stable home it once had been. It became a living testament to the delicate balance maintained by its fiery heart, now forever absent. Scientists recorded, explorers mapped, and philosophers wrote, all chronicling the slow transformation of a planet whose core had gone cold. And in that silence beneath frozen plains and simmering seas, humanity discovered something extraordinary: resilience. Even without the molten heart that had governed everything, life found ways to endure, adapt, and continue. The Earth's core had cooled, but its surface still beat with the fragile rhythm of survival. And in that quiet endurance, humans learned an unshakable truth. The strength of a world does not lie only in its heart, but in the creatures who persist upon it.